want to come back and just wild card ask you what are some of the other big things you're looking at right now. I go to your site all the time and just all the amazing things that are being discussed there. What are some of the other big balls in the air that you're focused on right now? And then we'll take some phone calls.
All right. Well, one of the things I'm wondering is if Jim Webb will get away from being Hillary light and actually run as a coalition president.
We'll talk about that. What do you think about the situation with Russia and Ukraine? Who's winning that?
I think Russia will inevitably win because the Ukraine is based on Russia, on speaking Russia, on Russian nationals. That is a war that the United States started to break up the forming alliance between Germany and Russia. The United States is losing on all fronts.
But they are having some economic effect on the Russians. But the Russians didn't start it, so we lose the moral high ground. I had a famous spy on just last week, and he said, well, there is no right or wrong in geopolitics, and right there is the disconnect. I mean, yes, if you just say there is no right or wrong, well, where the hell are you?
No, the moral high ground matters. More on that when we come back.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the InfoWars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Well, he ran major CIA operations in the Middle East and other parts of the world. Robert David Steele, author, researcher, is our guest. How do I pronounce it? I always pronounce it wrong. It's Phi Beta Iota. I just always say Pi. Phi, P-H-I, Beta Iota.net, or just Google Robert David Steele. It's the top link right there. He's our guest. I'm Alex Jones. I want to go to your phone calls. Frank and Gabe and Pam and Michelle and Michael and Daryl and others that are patiently holding. But getting back to you here, Robert. Look, I've got 3 kids. I just want to have prosperity. I want to have freedom. I want to live in a free country. I want other countries to do well. But there's a corporate zombie view, a crony capitalist view that they admit and write in books, where they want everybody else to be shut down by government and regulations, but only they are exempt to operate. Call it fascism, crony capitalism, whatever it is. They've got to know that karmically they'll never get away with enslaving everyone so they can be in control of a pile of skulls. I really don't understand the ruling class and what they're doing. Am I wrong in that analysis, or can you expand on it? I mean, where's the world going?
Well, Alex, I think you're right, but the world is changing. The elites, the 1%, have been focused for the last 50 years on creating governments that are 100% corrupt, that do exactly what they're told to do by the bankers and the elites, and that screw the public. And what has happened now is that they've realized that they're killing the golden goose. And it's not just the banks. The corporations are now starting to realize, some of the corporations, that minimum wages create serfs that can't buy their products. This is something Henry Ford knew long ago. The good news, the big news, is that the elites have broken ranks. Lady Lynn Rothschild, who it turns out comes from New Jersey, she just married a knight in England, has held a conference on inclusive capitalism. The Mars family is pressing on with something they've been doing for 50 years, which is mutuality economics. And we have our black sheep billionaires now on the West Coast. And what is happening is there is a segment of the elites that's starting to realize that everything they've been doing has been toxic for their future generations. So I think there's actually good news on the horizon.
Well, I agree with you because over the years, a lot of elites live in Austin, and I've been in L.A., New York. I mean, I've met with really famous people, really powerful people, and they're more awake than the general public, and they're freaked out and don't like what's happening with their kids and grandkids. And then there's a disconnect then. If you're running the world, how is it this bad? And they go, look, there's a lot of really dark people at a core group who want everything and who want to basically wreck the whole system to ensure they get control of the future. And so what you're saying is true. There is a major split in the ranks of the elite.
Yeah, and our public education is what makes the difference. I mean, we've been dumbed down and drugged up for a long time. But what I see happening now is the public is waking up, and your listeners are in the vanguard. I really believe that the pressure can now be brought on Congress. And frankly, these 2 weeks before the election in November are prime time for us taking the government back.
Stopping this disease won't be easy, but we know how to do it.
Fighting Ebola, the president says a travel ban won't work. So why are so many countries doing it?
A national strike is the answer.
I'm wearing the same shirt I was when I was in the car with that family.
There is zero risk. I said it. There it is. I shouldn't say that. There's no risk.
If there were any risk, I would not expose myself or my family.
A national strike will force Obama and the federal government to secure the borders and stop West African flights.
A travel ban is less effective than the measures that we are currently instituting.
I have a question for you. Do you want to end up like West African countries that are in a stage of panic and total collapse, with the UN estimating that over 1 million people will end up getting Ebola by December? We are calling for a nationwide strike starting next Monday through Wednesday for you to stay home, especially if you're medical workers, police, EMTs that are going to be hardest hit by this, to draw attention to the fact that the federal government is on strike and not doing its default job, allowing these flights to come in. Even the Speaker of the House has said stop the flights. Senator Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Governor Jindal of Louisiana, but not President Obama. He's out defending this. Now remember, it was someone flying in from Africa that brought it here, now spreading to nurses and clearly others. Why do they want it here? To create a bigger crisis, to get more funding, to be a political distraction from all the other scandals. And the new czar, who works for Al Gore previously, who has no Ebola background or experience, no medical training, he's an expert at divvying up tens of billions in funding to insiders to run the Ebola disaster, where literally hundreds of billions could be made, not just on the vaccine, but on the disaster itself. So go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. Get the article with the hashtag #StopEbolaStrike. Send it out on Facebook, out on Twitter. Send our article with the videos of the general warning and others so that people understand we don't have to be powerless and just watch the federal government engage in criminal neglect by design. If you're not essential folks or people like myself that have got to be on air, self-quarantine as a test. We'll call it a national strike. Call talk radio, call Congress, call the White House, call media, send out tweets, be an activist Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to fight Ebola and to stop Ebola with the Stop Ebola National Strike. And never forget, if you're watching this transmission, you are the hope, you are the resistance.